Okay, hi everybody. This is a video for 5.2, day 2, definite integrals. And let's see, a daily problem, rewrite the following as a definite integral. That would be what we talked about on Tuesday. And we would have the definite integral from 7 to 12. And this is of the function 3x to the 7 dx. So this is your lower limit of integration. A, that's A. 12 is B. The delta x sub k becomes a little dx, and the x sub k, that's your x piece. Rewrite the following as a Riemann sum. We wrote that as limit n goes to infinity, sum from 1 to infinity of delta x times f of a plus k delta x. So how would we do that? We'd need limit n going to infinity, sum k1 to n. Delta x is the length of the interval over the number of rectangles. So delta x is b minus a over n. This would be 7 minus 3 over n. That's 4 over n. So delta x is 4 over n times, let's see, f of a, which is 7, plus k delta x, which is 4 over n. So that's part of it, but then you can put this into the function. We'd have limit n to infinity, sum 1 to n, 4 over n times, if we put 7, put this 7 plus k 4 over n into there for the x, we would have 7 plus k 4 over n squared minus 11. There we go. Now we're saying that integral is equal to this Riemann sum. All right, let's keep going. Find the graph. No, find the area, or given the areas of the graph. So we have this area here is an 8. This one is a 17. This one's a 9, but it's below the x-axis, so it's negative 9. And when we have the integral of negative 2 to 8, it's saying from negative 2 on the x-axis to 8, what's the total signed area? And this stuff would cancel part of this stuff and leave you with a positive area. So we would have the signed area from negative 2 to 0, that's going to be 8, and then 17, and then negative 9. So we'd have 8 plus 17 minus 9. 8 minus 9 is a negative 1, plus 17. So our signed area is 16. Then from 2 to 2. So here is 2. And from 2 to 2, there's no area underneath that line. So the area is 0. There's no area to speak of, no region to speak of. 4 to 8, so this is 3 times the integral from 4 to 8 of the function dt. So that's going to be 3 times, and then the area from 4 to 8. 4 to 8, it's going to be negative 9. So our area is negative 27. From negative 2 to 8, and then absolute value. That means any negative area becomes positive. So negative 2 to 8, again, let's see, negative 2 to 8 is going to be an 8 plus 17, but instead of plus a negative 9, it'll be plus a 9, as though this negative area gets flipped up here, and we're looking at a positive 9. So it'll be this, except 8, 17, and a plus 9. 8, 17, plus 9, that's going to be 34. 4 to 0. So here, the limits are reversed, meaning the lower limit or the lesser limit is above and the higher limit's below. So if we switch it to 0 to 4, then what you have to do is you have to switch the sign of it and make it negative, and f of t dt. So we need the area from 0 to 4 of f of t. So 0 to 4, 0 to 4, that's going to be 17. And then we need the negative of that. So negative 17. There we go. The limit below represents the area under some function f of x on the interval a to b. Okay, so this is your a plus k delta x. So a is a -1. That means delta x, which is 2 over n, is b minus an a over n. 2 over n is b minus a, so plus 1. B has to be a 1. So our interval goes from -1 to 1. And the function then is root of 1 minus x, and it's so 1 minus this thing squared, and the root of that. So 1 minus x squared. That's our function on -1 to 1. Find the area geometrically. Let's see, f of x is a circle centered at, and if we wrote it, so we have, let's take f of x is equal to y. We'd have y is 1 minus x squared, the root of that. That tells us that y squared plus x squared is equal to 1. That's a circle centered at the origin with radius equal to 1. So the area is half of pi r squared, and the radius is 1, so we get pi halves. There's our area. Use the limit definition like we did today in class. That is, you're going to expand this thing. So let's do that. We'd have limit into infinity sum from 1 to n of delta x, and the delta x piece is b minus a over n. B is 4 minus 1a over n. That's 3 over n. 3 over n for delta x. F of a plus k delta x is f. A is a 1 plus k delta x 3 over n. And if you plug that into plug this input into that input there, we're going to square it and subtract 5. So we get 1 plus k 3 over n squared minus 5. If you FOIL that and then subtract 5, we would have 1 plus twice the product. So multiply these two and then double it, and then square this. It's going to be 9k squared over n squared minus 5. And so that's -4 plus 2 over nk cubed plus 9. You know what? That's not k cubed. That's 2. It's going to be a 6. That's right. So the 2 and the 3 give you a 6 over nk. Then the last piece is 9 over n squared, k squared. All right. So -4 plus 6 over n k plus 9 over n squared, k squared. All right, so now we need to work all this out, simplify it, and then take the sum of it, and then take the limit. So let's switch to blue. Limit into infinity, sum 1 to n, negative 12 over n plus 18 n squared k plus 27 n cubed k squared. Now, so we're going to, you know what, I think I can work this out. We're going to distribute the sum to this term, and this term, and anything with an n, like this piece, this piece, this piece, will all go to the front of the sum, and we'll be left with a k, a k squared, and a 1 there. So we would have negative 12 over n, sum 1 to n of 1, plus 18 over n squared, sum 1 to n of k, 27 over n cubed, sum 1 to n of k squared. Let me check something real quick. Yeah. Okay, so when we take our limit and going to infinity, we'd have negative 12 over n. This sum goes to 1, and so we'd have times 1, plus 18 over n squared. This sum is the n plus 1 divided by 2, the sum of the first k many integers, 27 over n cubed. The last sum, k squared, goes to n plus 1, 2n plus 1, all divided by 6. Now, when we actually take our limit, oh, you know what? This piece right there goes to n. Okay, so now these will cancel. We'll get negative 12. The degree in your denominator is 2 there. Degree here is 2, so we'll get 18 over 2, that's 9. Degree in the numerator is 3, denominator is 3, so we're going to get 27, 2, and a 6. The 2 divided by 6 is a third. 3 goes into 27 9 times. So we'd have negative 12 plus 18 divided by 2, that's 9, plus 9. And that gives us 18 and negative 12, that gives us positive 6. There's our area, and that's correct. All right, y'all take care. Reach out with questions if you have them, and stay in touch.